Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Voice of God, Volume 1. Enduring Bliss. It is said that in Krita Yugam, Brigu approached his father Varuna and asked him how to know that which is the fullest. Such a thing shall be full without any drawback and shall remain so irrespective of time and place. He said further. Varuna told his son, "Go and do tapas, penance. You will understand it yourself." "I will do so," said Brigu and started doing penance. To start with, he understood one thing. He concluded that this body alone is the highest thing. That which perceives a thing is valuable than that which is perceived. It is this body. He went and told his father, "This body is the highest and fullest thing." Father told him again, "Do some more penance." Brigu repeated this 5 times, doing tapas and telling his father what he thought was the fullest thing. First, he thought that the body to be the fullest. When he saw that this body would one day become a corpse, he realized that the body was not the fullest, but life in the body is the fullest. Then he thought that the mind was the fullest. Thereafter, he thought that the intellect was the fullest. Then, when he went to his father for the 5th time, he thought that the experience of bliss is the fullest. Brigu asked his father, "According to your advice, I perform penance all these days. Now, off and on, I feel some feeling of bliss, Ananda. What is this?" "You said that you experience a bliss off and on. That bliss you are experiencing in small doses is the fullest. When this becomes full, we call it total bliss. This is the only thing which is always full, faultless, irrespective of time and place. Beyond body, life, mind, and intellect, there is the soul. When the soul realizes itself, there is bliss," said the father. This is a story from the Upanishad. It is a drop of that ocean of immense joy that we experience occasionally. If we sit under a tree full of leaves and thick foliage, the sun rays do not penetrate and there is shade. When due to wind, the branches and the foliage slightly move this way and that, sunlight penetrates through the gap and falls below. When the branches and foliage come back to the normal position, sunlight is again blocked. In the same way, we have the experience of bliss now and then. Bliss is all pervading and always full. But due to our bad karma, mind, and intellect, it is hidden from us. For a moment, when such bad karmas move away as a result of some of our good karmas, we experience a bit of all the pervading bliss, just as the leaves which move due to wind allow a little sunlight to penetrate. If such a small bliss grows, it becomes unlimited bliss. It is when we occasionally experience a bit of that unlimited bliss, we say we are happy. By continuous tapas and constant spiritual enquiry, we can become one with the ocean of bliss and be the bliss. What Lord Krishna said, poet Kamban echoed. Soul is what supports everything, but if it is said to be beyond everything, one would think how that could be. It is confusing. In Gita, Lord Krishna would confuse like this in different ways and then make the whole thing absolutely clear. "I am in everything. All things are in me," says Krishna at one place in the Gita. "Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati." When it is said that all things are in him, it would mean that he is the soul supporting everything. But when it is said that he is in everything, would it not mean that these things support him? Confusion may arise as to which of these is correct. What is correct is that the Lord or the soul is the support for everything. When it is said that He is in everything, it would not mean that they support Him. It is because of Him that they have the form and the life. Without Him, they have no existence. They do not support Him. He is the one who creates and operates everything. Sri Krishna makes it clear. All things are like the marionette. The Lord is within them and manipulates them. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrudesi arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani entra ruddhani mayaya, says Krishna. The Lord who clears the confusion this way creates confusion again in the same Gita. The Lord who says, I am in everything and all things are in me, says, nothing is in me, I am in nothing. Na chamatstani bhutani. What is spoken here is the philosophy that the soul is beyond everything. If he is asked, what is this you are creating confusion? He says in one stroke, all cannot understand me. Na aham prakasha sarvasya. That is my yoga maya. Yoga maya samavrata. Do you feel what kind of discourse is this? Nothing is clear. If we think deep, we will see that the confusion gets cleared. If the Lord has said, no one can understand me, it will mean that if there are 1,000 people, all the 1,000 people cannot understand me. Instead, if it is said, all people cannot understand me, it will mean that even if 999 out of the 1,000 cannot understand me, there will be at least one who can understand me. The Lord said that not all people can understand Him, but did not say that no one can understand Him. That would mean that He can be understood by some people. Who are these few? They are the jnanis. Such jnanis can only explain the contradiction in the statement, I am in everything, nothing is in me, and clear the confusion. There is a flower garland lying on the road. It is semi dark. Someone who comes that way tramples on the garland and shouts out of fear, oh, snake, snake! What is garland is the snake too. But when he comes to know that it is only a garland, he realizes that it is not a snake. Therefore, what was it that was supportive of the snake? It is only the garland. When the Lord says, I am within this universe, the universe is in me, what does it mean? It is to be understood in the same way as saying that the snake is in the garland and the garland is in the snake. Both are true, is it not? To the person who screamed snake, snake, the snake has swallowed the garland. What appears to him as the reality is the snake. When he understands the reality that it is the garland hides the snake within itself. Garland is seen as the real thing. Although one who is afflicted by illusion, Maya, sees the universe as the truth, in reality, it is the Lord who is behind the universe and supporting it. To the one who by true knowledge has wiped the universe from his view, everything including himself appears as the Lord only. When the jnani is in nirvikalpa samadhi, superconscious state, he sees nothing but the Lord. Nothing like the universe is seen even as mere appearance. When there is no such thing as the universe, to say that it is in the Lord or that the Lord is in it is absurd, is it not? In the state of ignorance, the body, life, mind, intellect, etc. are seen. When knowledge is attained and there is self effulgence, the state is reached by transcending all these. It is for this reason that Lord Krishna, remaining in the state of ultimate knowledge, says, nothing is in me, I am not in them, simply because some ignorant person thought a garland to be a snake. Can can it be said that the snake was within the garland or that the garland was in the snake? Poet Kamban says the same thing in one of the verses in Sundarakandam. He refers to the metaphor of the garland and the snake. Like the false perception of a snake in a garland, the five elements come together and create the delusion of the universe. Kamban says that Ramachandra Murthy is the Paramatma who is the destroyer of Maya, by which one is enabled to see the garland, that is, Ishvara. Poet Kamban was a staunch Vaishnava who had sung in praise of Nammalvar. It is this Kamban who speaks the language of Advaita so clearly and describes the Paramatma. Mahaperiva Charanam.